Do, do, do. Oops.
What time is it? It's always that time. The same time it is. Somewhere around 3. Somewhere around 3.
Darren.
You gotta admit, ish is a time. Ish is a perfectly valid increment of time. When are you gonna be there? 3-ish. And you know what that means. That's like plus minus 15 minutes. Unless it's that one friend you got that is like minimum 30 minutes late.
Yeah.
We've all had that friend. We all know that person I'm talking about, where you don't even bother getting there until like 20 minutes before you said you were going to be there, because you're just going to sit there and wait for 30 minutes.
Yeah, there's those friends if you really want them there on time, you got to tell them get there a half hour before. And then they'll get there on time. I like the ish clocks. Like I have one in Firefox. That's on the...
And... I just roll with it. I've always... Some people are punctual. I'm always going to be like 5 minutes early. Because I'm going to be 5 minutes early because I'm going to be 20 minutes early. But I'm going to be absolutely sure, minus like, cataclysm, I'm going to be 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
I don't like rushing to places. I see people driving around, just weaving in and out of traffic like that. I'm just like laid back and like, whatever, I'll get there. How's everybody going? How are we doing? Did I send out the tweet? I think I sent out a tweet because I stole Jill's. Yes, I did.
Okay.
All right. There we go. And...
boy. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking, well, besides I've always just been very punctual my whole life and done everything early. But one of the reasons for that is I had to rely on the bus system for so many years. So I had to make sure when, I started college that I made sure to take the bus before the last bus that would get me there right on time, like just in time. I made sure to take the bus before it. So I would get there early. And people with cars, I'm like, I know all my teachers would always like, Jill's always early. She's always here early or, way on time. And and you guys, I remember that was so funny. Yeah. One of my teachers, I had carried 50 pounds of clay on the bus for my sculpture class. And all the other students were complaining that they couldn't get close enough to the classroom to drop off their clay. And he says, well, what about Jill? She took that on the bus. I did have a cart, but the cart broke because the clay was so heavy. And I dragged it from the bus stop, which was about a half a mile away. And I was still there early and on time, and everyone was complaining about having their cars and dropping off their clay. So he always used me as an example, and he'd say, Jill, you have an A++ for today.
50 pounds of clay.
It's a lot, yeah. I used to have to do that every once in a while.
I wanted to say that sounded like a lot, but I'm like, no, I carried around more books than that daily. Well,
yeah. That on top of all my books, sometimes a laptop, and those are old laptops.
A laptop?
Yeah. Back with my 286 and 386 laptop, I sometimes bring that, and several hundred floppy disks for my animation. So I had hundreds, probably, of pounds with me. It was hell, actually. It was horrible.
What did you use to carry hundreds of pounds, Jill? I'm curious.
Oh, gosh. I had a cart. And getting the hard thing was, the getting the cart up and down the stairs on the bus, because that was before the buses had the nice wheelchair access. And people would get off the bus to help me bring all my stuff up. It was horrible. Yeah, I had actually 2 50-pound bags one time of clay with me, and that was 100 pounds. And then
so
we
got about 6 minutes before we're going live.
Okay. I will be right back. Oh,
That
hi,
is
McBrown83. Oh. McBrown, yay! Welcome.
All right. Let me get that together. And we get a reasonably short show for today. It'll be kind of fun. Arthurian was kind enough to drop in a thing about the Pine phones. And 2 years of owning that. Kind of reading through that, picking that apart. I'm going to say the guy... I don't know if it was a guy. Wasn't? I don't know. His name's Peter. Their name is Peter. Whatever. Came to the conclusion... We were talking about this in the pre-show. Like, what do you really do with the Pine devices? I haven't bought one yet. I'm still waiting. Pine 64 for a reasonably powered tablet. Because I couldn't roll with that tablet. The tablet was too anemic. But you buy, a Pine Time Pros. A development board, right? I think so. Most people do. But if you're paying attention in my revisit to Days Gone, I watched a YouTube video that said Days Gone, the title drop doesn't even happen until about 30 hours into the game, right? If you're unfamiliar with Days Gone, it got panned for some reason. I mean, it was serviceable. I wasn't around paying attention to it for the hype when it was released. Motorcycle, zombie, third-person, narrative-driven action adventure RPG. And what happens around the 30 to 32 hour mark? I hadn't played the game for months, probably like 6 or 7 months, and I came back after watching a YouTube video. It's like challenge accepted. It forces you to fight hordes, is what it does. I don't like it, but it's fun. Does that make any sense? I like the challenge of it. Kind of like in... If you've ever played Assassin's Creed, there's normally like a camp, and you gotta like get one guy in the middle of the camp, and you're horribly overmatched. But you've just made up your mind that, you know what, I'm gonna do this. So you spend the next like 4.5, 5 hours picking off each person. It's kind of like that, but with a horde of zombies that you could like set up traps and stuff like that. And it is not straightforward at all. It wasn't a murder bush simulator. Okay, here's a cardinal sin, game developers. If you go back and patch cheese points that people were able to take advantage of, you were literally Satan, okay? Nothing is worse, like being stuck. You're like, this is some nonsense. You go to YouTube, you type in the nonsense, and somebody, what are you looking for? You're looking for a good cheese point, right? You're like, there's a nice little cheese point where I can get through this. And you go down to the comments. First comment, yeah, this was removed in the last patch. Literal Satan, if you do that to your own game. But yeah, I was trying to find, I didn't have a murder bush. I had a murder treehouse. And I don't think anybody would have enjoyed watching it, but I was determined to make my murder treehouse work correctly. And I was down to like 20. The horde has a health bar, and it's how many of the hundreds of zombies that you kill. And I had like one nice group left. And I discovered that I had this perk, and I did this by accident because I didn't realize that they chased you. Because after they get down to a certain health, they just constantly come after you. Up to that point, you can kind of drive off and regroup and come back in. But after that point, they just stream. And I was just puttering away, to get out of the main zone before the, come back and regroup. And I turned around. There's the horde behind me. Oops. Closest thing to me was the treehouse, which is like a platform with another platform on it. So I run up the ladder, And I'm up the next ladder. I'm like, they start coming up the ladder. I'm like, no, this is not fair. And I'm dead again, forcing you to get good. Very exciting. I wasn't having a good time while I was doing it. I was saying very violent, nasty things at the game. But I just said, F this, I'll get this. I had a good save point. So I pulled out like a napalm Molotov. And I'm like, you know what? We're going down together, zombies. And we're just going to have fun. Bad Krispies. And I dumped it on the floor on the top story of my treehouse. Turns out I had a perk that I didn't remember that I bought, is where if you get a headshot, you get health out of it. So I had like 70 zombies in this little tiny square on top of me. Apparently, immolation counted as headshots. So while I was getting damaged by my own fire, the zombies getting murderated by the fire were keeping my health roughly level. And I almost survived that. Jill. I almost walked out of that and be like, ooh, I found a good cheese point. And my brain said, that's a cheese point. So probably for the next 3 hours and 100 attempts, I tried to make that work again and it never worked again.
Oh.
It was not. I finally legitimately got through that last little bit of zombie thing. But out of principle, the last 2 zombies I had chasing me, I took them to the murder treehouse and I took them out on the top. There we go. That's my tale of kids.
Cool.
Let me get a drink. And me and Jill are going to run through a couple things. Yes.
Very cool. Aw. Welcome again, McBrown83. That's Arian. Hi, Arian. Oh, yeah. Artherin, otherwise known as Canned Off the Crete in chat. Short and sweet, 33 and a third. LWTW. That does sound cool, huh? When I saw the number, I was like, oh, that's a cool number. Oh, yeah. So this time I got the same manufacturer of that kitty mug. I got the panda mug. I figured since I'd been rocking the kitty mug, today I'll rock the panda mug. Isn't it cute? Aw. How was your night tonight, Artherin, on a Wednesday? Aw, I like that gift. How cute. Oh, Gamatron. Yeah, Ven was saying that it wasn't until like 2 hours in that the game officially started. It was pretty insane. Oh, it's like an oven. It's really hot. Aw, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Gamatron. I'm still not great. I didn't sleep last night. I've got chills and my muscles hurt, my sore throat. My sore throat. My throat is sore. But I'm hanging in there. I'm heavily medicated. Oh boy, Artherin, look at that. Your sore is throating, yeah. It's not the worst. It's like a middle of range sore throat, but after the show I'm gonna be resting my throat for the whole day. Oh, there's my hubby. Protosaurus, yeah. I'm glad you made it, Steve Husband. He's been working so many hours, he didn't know if he would be able to make it. He's just... not just so many hours, but huge deadlines. Aw. Yay. My husband said hello to his nephew, Arthur. He's our virtual nephew. And Gamatron is our great friend.
Earthian, are you getting some of those lovely temperatures too? Are they nice?
He just posted. This is pretty bad. 36 Celsius.
Nice and cool. Under 38. I looked at that today when I came in and started cutting everything on in the studio. I checked the temperature outside. I'm like, genuinely had the thought, it's only 30 degrees outside. That's nice. 30 degrees is not nice outside. You don't want to be outside when it's 30 degrees.
It's like going to Vegas. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. It's not fun when you're bouncing out in a nice air-conditioned place and you got to make it all the way to your car.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. I think we're going to bounce into this. And,
okay.
That's good. Wait, I don't know what that button does, so let's not press it. I'm going to press that button now because I know what it does. 7 minutes. That's not. Oh, that can be dangerous too, though, man. Living that close.
Oh, that is nice, Arthur. But that, yeah, when you're out in the heat and the humidity, that's insane.
That comes with the responsibility of getting that call. Hey, since you're close to the office. Oh.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're about to inject you with another weekly, daily Wednesdays, episode 333, for your viewing enjoyment.
33 and a third edition.
I did remember to clear the show bot. So if you want to bang suggest show titles during the show, you're welcome to. And they very well might be used. I got to get in the habit of doing that.
Yeah.
You just got to remind me. I'm getting to that age where I'm going to have to make a list of things to remember to do.
That's how I live. I live on lists.
I don't. I still refuse. I've never written a grocery list, and I'm
okay.
To the point where I'll reliably.
Yeah. I've always written lists, though. That's part of my OCD. I like to be organized and have everything, if it's written down, then I don't have to worry about it. All I have to do is look at the note.
But I do, Joe. It's just up here.
Yeah. Well, I used to be able to do that pretty well, but now that I'm older, have more responsibilities, it's a little harder.
Never had a problem with it.
Huh?
But my grocery list, I'm almost getting to the point where I'll reliably leave one thing off.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a thing.
That's always entertaining to see how long I can be at the house before I find out what that one thing is. It's always a surprise because there's never anything and this is not a deal either. I mean, I'm 12 minutes, 13 minutes from the 1, 2, 4 in any direction, but it's the principal thing.
Yeah. No, with groceries and that kind of thing, I don't really need to. Although, me and my husband always make a list to make it easier. But it's more the work stuff for me that I have to write down things. Like meetings I need to be at, I have a calendar.
Oh, no.
And if I have
I've never done a calendar.
Yeah. I have to have one.
The closest thing to a calendar I have is our Twitch schedule.
Oh, okay.
Everything else I can just block. Yeah. I mean, if I ever get to to the problem, to the point where that's a problem. I have nothing against calendars. I don't get up in the morning and go, calendars, so with them. I don't. But fortunately, that hasn't been a problem yet. All right. Let's get that. And okay, I've clicked that. Lettuce and tea for Vin. I don't know, man. You probably wouldn't want to eat my diet, Steve. You'd live longer. But hey, man, you do you, buddy. All right. Ready, Jill?
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we... take two.
I apologize.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux. I'm Vin. That's Jill. That's you at home watching us live, doing all the things we're doing. We got not a ton of stuff to talk about this week, because this is just stuff we find interesting. No, yeah, I know. You might not like it, cool but we like it, so we're going to talk about it. You're going to have to deal with it. Jill, you got infected by the plague.
Yeah, so excuse my voice if I sound a little funny. Yeah, I've been under the weather.
I can make you sound funny. You want to sound funny?
Oh, that's true. You have that power. You can make me echo, and you can make me sound like a guy.
I can do pitch correction. We can do it live, too. I mean, I do it throughout the entire show.
That actually might be interesting. But I did have fun this last weekend. I had one of the Linux Chicks of Los Angeles over. We had a great time catching up and talking about our Linux Chicks-A-Lay booth that we have at Skill every year, except for when there's a pandemic. But this year's Skill, the Southern California Linux Expo, is back, 19X, and it's coming July 28th through the 31st. So I'm starting to prepare for that, which is always exciting and a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. And this was actually the first time I had seen one of my Linux Chicks of LA girls in IRL since the pandemic. So that was really awesome. We've been, constantly talking to each other on social medias and on Jitsi and whatnot.
You see what you get? You get the plague, Joe.
Yeah. I got the plague. The plague of social interaction.
Man. That is coming up, though. July is next month. Barely. Yeah. I mean, effectively. Yeah, we're a couple of days out in June.
Yeah,
That's going to be interesting, seeing a bunch of people getting back together. Looking forward to that. Here's a free bit of advice. This is what you get. Here's your bonus thing. If you are in the States and you happen to have Charter Communications, you haven't gotten an email about this. And something you might not know is I don't think it's going to affect me on business plan, because we got a speed bump like last year sometime. But if you're on like a 100, 200, 400 megabit plans, reset your modem. You should have an extra 100 megabits there. That is something that's getting rolled out. And
very nice.
Yeah. I don't even know. I know from another tech, is like, yeah, this is done. Do it. And a lot of people have done it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Hey, free stuff.
Yeah, that's nice. When I had cable, they would do that every once in a while, like roll every 6 months or a year, roll out a little higher bandwidth. But not so true with fiber. Fiber, I'm a gigabit, and it'll stay a gigabit unless I pay them more.
Well, I mean, you got 2.5 and 5 gigabit options.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. And yeah. So if you're in the States and you happen to have Charter Communications or Spectrum, whatever they're called in your area, cycle your modem to a speed test and, hey, find out. I mean, you're not going to pay anything extra for it yet. And the other thing I've been up to is I was talking about the Behringer UV1 last week, and we're making progress getting the kernel driver set up for it. So that's kind of an adventure, having to do some reclocking things that, well, like phase 1 is doing some reclocking things from that with the Behringer 404 and stuff like that, trying to get an idea where it's at. And I'm trying to get a hold of Behringer which is always a fun thing because they will do everything possible not to talk to a human being, which is interesting because I need to confirm something on the board. And I happen to have the device and we're going back and forward. So we got a thing opened in the kernel thing, and hopefully it'll get, I know science terms, right? Kernel thing pushed out to Linux next, maybe a week after next or whatever, to get it up and running under Linux. So here's your fair warning. If you're planning on buying one, which I don't even know they're generally available, hold off until everything's 100% on that. There you go. Yeah.
Nice.
Outside of that, I've been killing zombies.
Yeah, cool. And racing or doing time trials in Trackmania, as we have
did that
every week. Yeah.
I think, let's see. I don't think I had the best time out of anybody this week. Joe, you did pretty good in a couple of tracks too.
Yeah, I did get through the final goal before some other people did, but then their speeds got better than mine. But I'm used to that.
Better and better each and every week. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I win.
I can draw the direct correlation because you can't lie your way through Trackmania. I can look each and every week who put the most time in and go, that's going to be the letterboard come Friday. And if you don't know what we do, we play the much unloved version of Trackmania, Trackmania Squared Stadium. Why? Because it runs on anything and it's super cheap. And it runs on Linux. Just smash that Proton button, fam. We have our own server, which does run on Linux, which is nice. Little private server that we set up, and we throw in new tracks each and every week. Just because we like physics platforming. You know, if you like super realistic fake racing, probably not your thing. But if you like arcade racing, or if you just like platforming with some physics thrown in, maybe come check it out. All that information is in our Discord. It's open for Twitch subs and patrons. Just link that to your account to get into our Discord. Consider that like a litmus test. Because, man, I had somebody blow me up on, if you're listening, man, I'm sorry. But they asked, you remember that Mage Well? I still have that Mage Well at like $900 quad capture card.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I had like the first version, which just had, you know, because it's commercial equipment. It's just got that buzzsaw fan in it where you can hear it 3 houses over, just 100%, no fan control on it. And part of that video I did for setting up on Linux was doing a fan hack and, you know, clipping that out and setting it up so you can control it with your motherboard. And I get a comment on that video, I think early last week. It's like, hey, could you list the parts? And I'm like, well, yeah, I did. In the description of the that should have been my first clue. Just leave it alone. But just trying to be nice. Like I did. Just a flood of it. That was the lead-in. That was the lead-in question, Joe. That was like,
okay.
Can I? Oh, now I have your attention. This is what I didn't write back. What I should have wrote back. I'm like, why are you in charge of this piece of hardware? You shouldn't be, because it was very like, how do I cut the cable? And I'm like, no, don't give this to somebody else. You ever run into those situations?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where somebody's aspiration does not meet their current ability. And they didn't start with the simple stuff. They get some really expensive equipment. You're like, that's probably not where you want to start off playing.
Yeah.
You probably want to get something a little cheaper. It's not going to hurt as much when you break it. But there we are. And one of the questions was like, how do I get in Discord? And I'm like, you know what? If you figure this out, I'll walk you through it with everything else. But I'm not going to tell you. Because it was like, do you have a Discord? Like, not touching it, Joe.
Oh, okay.
If you can figure that out, we'll continue this conversation. There we are. Now, something we talked about in the pre-show is Pine devices, Pine 64.
Yeah.
They've always been reasonable, like, not even reasonable. They've been very affordable, like within the, $100, $200 range, something that you could look, or the Pine Time, right?
Yeah. The Pine Time, $30. The Pine Book, $100. They're great.
And you got to give Jill credit because it only took like maybe 3 seconds, and Jill was like, I know where my Pine Time is. Most people can't say that. Why? Because the Pine Time is like $30, $15, something like that. You buy it like, that's neat. Where's that? No idea. real conversations I've had with people. But somebody, I don't think Arthurian, he threw this into the show suggestions section, 2 years of life with a Pine phone. And I was kind of interested to read this because somebody took the Pepsi challenge with this, and that somebody was Peter. Mm-hmm. And he kind of walks through this, and pretty interesting. I mean, it is with the early impressions, and like, I don't know if this is going to be any good. And it really does start off like you would expect a Pine phone experience if you knew that, hey, this is kind of like development hardware. And he kind of walks through the initial neat factor, what happens when that wears off and you have to deal with reality. Things like the 7 hours of idle battery life, not good. And, later on, Crust firmware came along, really helped out the battery life. The problem is like most of the time the phone won't be able to come out of hibernation quick enough to answer a call. So,
yeah.
And, later on, we talked about this, the community editions were axed, and that took a little bit of the fun out of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have all these crazy little spins going on. And, but it's 2022. And he's going to walk through, things have kind of smoothed out, He even wrote this using his Pine phone, and you can do things like process the words, browse the webs on the OG Pine phone. It's kind of stable now, which is good. But he's like, it's very slow. Just be prepared to be able to take breaks when you're trying to get things done. And
launching Firefox. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
A little slow. Yeah.
Like start it and go do something else, come back. But if you're aware of what you paid for it, you bought a Tinker device. And, I'm going to say in 2022, my answer to should you buy a Pine phone is the same as it was on release. I completely agree with this. If you want something inexpensive to tinker with, absolutely. I still think it's a great, it's the Raspberry Pi of mobile computing. With,
absolutely.
Maybe.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true. And what is cool is that Peter said he wrote this on his Pine phone, this article. So I was thinking it's probably with the attached Pine phone keyboard or an external Bluetooth keyboard. But yeah, what I thought was interesting in the article is he talked about when the community editions stopped being released, the interest went down, at least within the communications of the forums and the questions. And that's something to think about, I think, for Pine 64, to maybe every once in a while, promote one of the OSs they're using, because I think it really helps with publicity, or do some new community editions, possibly.
I'm going to tell you what everyone's going to say to that, Jill. I'm going to tell you. It depends on how you look at it, because me and you were looking at it and we're like, yeah, let's get the community involved. Let's have a bunch of different options, right?
Yeah.
I think they're looking at it as sustainability long term. If we're going to actually develop a cohesive ecosystem, we got to get everybody on the same page. This is one.
And that's why they chose Manjaro. Yeah.
That doesn't gel with a lot of the Linux crowd when you say, no, we can only use this one distribution. It's all about choice. True, but do you ever want to get a Linux phone? But, I mean, you can install what you want, but I can understand why they want to focus all development and efforts into one thing. I get it.
Yeah.
And nothing's stopping anybody from doing their own versions and their own spins. I mean, those aren't acts. They're just not official in any capacity anymore. Again, if anybody from Pine is listening, which I know they occasionally do, because you hit me up on Twitter when I mess up things, when I misspeak.
Yeah.
Hear me now.
Yes.
Release me a halfway decent tablet. And halfway decent tablet, it could be an older Cortex design, but at least put a 1080p 1080p display, capacitive, 4 gigs of RAM, preferably a $300 price point. I'll buy one. Now, unfortunately, you might be like, well, we sold one. Ben kept his word. That might be a bad idea. But,
yeah.
And I'm very interested. I think, when is it, next week or the upcoming weeks, they're going to announce more details on the RISC-V board. which is kind of interesting. Like, RISC is
that's
neat.
exciting.
Yeah. So,
yeah, and Pine has always had their own little SoC board, but it's really nice to see them expanding.
Yeah, they got some rock chip ARM stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we need more because you just cannot get a Raspberry Pi right now.
But yeah, but Pine is brilliant. Their big problem right now is hardware shortages. So that's the unfortunate thing. But I know they're working on new product, and I'm sure there's going to be another iteration of the Pine phone. Absolutely.
I mean, they were able to do the Pine Pro.
Yeah.
Where do you go? Like, come on, Pine, call it the Pine More Pro.
Pine More Pro. Pine Pro squared. Yeah. Pine Pro 2.
Pine Pro 2. But square it.
Yeah. Like Trackmania does.
Right. That's a common question when people first start asking, like poking around, like, what are you guys doing having fun on Tuesdays and Fridays? Why is it squared? Like, I don't know. Just play it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and they do make installing all the different OSs really easy. Even Luna OS is on there, which I'm very happy. That's the open web OS for those of you that don't know. And I have ran that before. Actually, I do have it installed on one of my phones. And it's nice to see the development. And because of that, those projects are getting better because of the Pine phone, obviously. Those are getting better.
Well, here's to Peter, who took the Pepsi challenge. 2-year drive with something that I would have no interest. I mean, again, that would be, for me, that would be the equivalent of, I'm not knocking the Pine phone up because I'm like, hey, get the Pine phone, play with it, have fun with it, development platform, good tinker device. But that would be like, you're going to use this Raspberry Pi 4 as your only computer for 2 years. And once I was done laughing at you, I would kindly ask you to leave. So, excellent, good reporting. And very fair conclusion. I look forward to more stuff from the Pine crew.
Absolutely.
Do. Rust in the Linux kernel is going to happen no matter how much you purist don't want it. It's coming.
Oh, this is so exciting. It's something a lot of us in the Linux community have really been anticipating. So Linus Torvald says, yes, Rust is coming to the Linux kernel, and he said really soon. He talked at the Linux Foundation's Open Source Summit in Austin, Texas on Tuesday, the 21st of June. And he said he expects support for Rust code in the Linux kernel to be merged soon, possibly with the next release, 5.20. So cool. This is just so awesome. And, we've actually been here on LWW. We covered this awesome news when it broke the beginning of last year. And in December, we talked about a patch that added support for Rust as a second language for the Linux kernel code. And this is just very, very exciting because, for one thing, Rust integration in Linux kernel would lead to better security and stability. And having memory managed drivers that Rust offers is a great idea, and it increase the speed of the OS tremendously. And, Linus himself, of course, knows all the benefits that Rust can bring, and he's very excited about it.
I think he's excited and he'll allow it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
that
kind of
nice,
the take I've been getting from Linus. He's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he had said in the article, in the interview at the Open Source Summit, he had said that it wouldn't be too hard to integrate it. They've tried before with other languages, and he didn't think that this one would be too hard a process.
Yeah.
So that was a good sign.
Least of the worst. I mean,
yeah.
I don't have anything against Rust. I do tangle with Rust on occasion, especially with the also Soundfireware Improve stack that TAC works on. That is really where I'm like, okay, what is this? Cargo. Okay, all right, this is how this works. Rust is still slow, but
good at sandboxing.
It has its upsides. I'll say that. And I mean, If that's how we got to roll with it, that's how we got to roll with it. This comes from the Register, and all of this is going to be in our show notes. All I'll say is Register. I saw this. I'm looking at the photo. This is Linus with Dirk on the stage. It's like, what? Did you shoot this with a Pine phone?
Yeah, I know.
It is heavily compressed artifacts. It looks like there's color banding in it. Like, it looks rough. And like, no, that's fine image.
Yeah. Oh, I had a great time when I got to talk to Linus at the
Look
Open
at
Source
that
Summit
young man
in 2017. And he looked younger in 2017 than he does now.
Was.
Yeah, he was. But he's so cool.
Oh, man. Pocket PCs.
Yeah, this is exciting, Ben.
You know what? Kinda. And I'm going to say kinda because what I was more interested in is the precursor to this. Now, we're about to talk about the M&T Pocket Reform. And you know what? The biggest feature of this is it's going to be available in purple. Pretty much.
I'm excited about that.
This is it. It's small. It's little. There's no pricing details whatsoever. And let's see how poorly photoshopped. Well, it's a 3D render, so come on. Whatever.
It is a 3D render, and I actually did a pretty nice job on it.
Well, okay. No pricing data. It's M&T says it's going to go into an early beta program with dev kits coming soon, trademarked. What is it? Cortex A53. You know what? That was a really nice beta kit back in like 2012, 2015, whenever it was released. But it's small. It's tiny. Jill will tell you about that. It's a baby version of the Reform laptop. And their laptop goes for about 1.5K, fully kitted out, about 12K. Not 1.5, $1,500, or $1,200 if you just want the build your own kit, which, you know, that's the first thing I look into when I see something like this. Have you shipped product before? Because shipping the product is the hardest thing out of all of it. But 7-inch display and all that. Here's what I wanted to bring up, Joe. Here's what I wanted to bring up. Because we're going to talk about the little mini version. And do you like purple?
Yeah, I love purple.
What about wood grain?
Oh, yeah, I like that one too. That was, there was another article that we have in our show notes, and someone was saying, oh, they'd love to see the wood grain one be a real thing.
This is what got me a little more excited, because everyone knows about the, what is the name of the laptop that Lewis has and Linus is invested in?
I'm spacing. We know it. We just both forgot.
Thank you, Katana. Still. Framework.
The Framework modular laptop. Yes.
So they got their own take on this. Look at that. Those look like 18650s. They could be 1820. But they have their own modular laptop as well, which I'd never heard about. And I'm sure somebody's going to go back and go, you've talked about it. I'm like, maybe. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
But you can buy this as a multi-piece kit, and it's got all the things. Now, we're going to talk about a little itsy-bitsy one, actually. Jill's going to go to a lot more detail. I just want to give this a plug. Now, it's not exactly a light, super slim one. It's pretty light, but I thought this was kind of neat. I mean, this is, look, there's a little prototype. So basically, Jill, what they're making is a production version of the initial prototype of their laptop.
Look at, they even have ones colors and designs.
Right?
It's so cool.
And back to the pocket. Jill's going to tell you about it.
Yeah. So my first thought was, I want that. A beautiful mini laptop in purple. In fact, a lot of the computers in my collection, one of my favorite things are my mini laptops and unique laptops. And what's cool about this one is it has an open source trackball. And that is just so cool, because trackballs are so much better than touchpads to me.
So tired of all these closed source trackballs.
Yeah, yes. And it has an ortholinear mechanical keyboard, which is very impressive. and it has open hardware and open software. It's sustainable and takes a standard replaceable battery. That is awesome. And I actually subscribe to the Pocket Reform News to get updates on this little device because I want one really bad. And Ven, do you know what OSs this little Pocket Reform supports? It's actually amazing. That wasn't on the list, but I'm sure it would work. So, of course, Debian GNU Linux, support for Arch and Ubuntu and Void Linux.
For the kids. All right.
And the Plan 9 Unix operating system. I thought that was really awesome. And honestly, that takes some feet to get Plan 9 launching on hardware.
Can you imagine looking at a little mobile device like this and you're like, this thing's practically useless, and somebody kicks in the door and is like, we can go deeper.
Aw. But Plan 9 was so ahead of its time in terms of sharing a networked hardware from one computer to the next. Like you could send from one computer, you could play sound and send that device's drivers to another computer, which would play the sound. Just really, really ahead of its time. I remember seeing a demo of it years ago and was so impressed.
Yeah, BOS. I'd be done with that. Yeah. I mean, if you want to run, on technical feet, if you want, I'm not knocking on Plan 9 fan humans at all. Just, when you talk about an OS, it's like, can I do work with it? Like, well, listen, come on. It's really neat, though. Look at this networking thing. It can can I check my email? Well, okay. Don't get too hasty.
And as my Steve husband said in chat, isn't that from outer space? Plan 9 from outer space. And yes, it was named after Plan 9 from outer space.
I posted a kind of interesting thing in Discord. It might have been week before last, that the initial Plan 9 distribution disk that they were going to push out was going to have like a bunch of custom songs, and not MP3s. It was a different format that they'd come up with that was like writing next to MP3 at the time. They were going to push out all the Plan 9 stuff too. But AT&T's lawyers shut it down, and they're like, I'll have to find it. I'll post it again back at our Discord, because this ends with like a very long thing from one of the engineers, and like, this is why MP3 became the default standard for music encoding. Like, interesting ways.
Yeah.
Things get tied together.
So the Pocket Reform also supports the Gnode operating system as well as OpenBSD. So a very diverse a platform. It's really awesome.
I don't know, Joel. It's got to do more obscure stuff. I've heard of all these operating systems.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got lots of cool stuff. Oh, it's got also the not just Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but you can access cellular as well with it.
I should point out the Wi-Fi stack and Bluetooth stack's open source. There's no like blobby stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing I can take issue with, like, legitimately, is it's too small for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But this keyboard does look, it's really good for a 7-inch laptop keyboard.
I would have to use this
really
to
nice.
use a keyboard that small.
Yeah, that is true.
Poke it with a pen.
Like, I have no problem with my my original EPC, but I have small hands, so.
I never had a problem with it. I just found more entertaining trying to use it.
Yeah.
I thumb typed on it, kind of tried to, but I don't know. Trackballs back on laptops. How vintage.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. I've always loved the trackball for laptops. It was so precise, and I found it really quick and easy. I like the old Dells when they had them, and the old ThinkPads. It's really nice.
I don't.
You don't? Well,
no.
The reason they put a trackball is for, obviously, for space. They want to keep this as small as possible. But they could have used the nubbin, which I can't stand. But instead, they chose to use a trackball. So,
you know what? You gotta give credit to the little nipple from IBM, because that taught an entire generation that you could plug a mouse into a laptop.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. It just drove. I never liked it because partly it's because I'm visually challenged. So, and it was hard Yeah, it was just hard for me to use it.
The yeah, the only thing I think about when I see a trackball on a laptop is like, how easy is that to clean out? Because trackballs get nasty.
Yeah, that is true. They can, just like the mouse ball and the old.
Well, I mean, it's not like you're nasty. It's you want to see a collection of dead skin?
Yeah. Ew. Ben.
Use a trackball. I'm sorry. I mean, this is universal with trackballs. If you've ever used a trackball of any type, make, shape, or function, you pop
and
the
Ben
ball
knows
out.
because he uses a trackball. Yeah. Even right now.
This is that stuff that's not dirt. That's skin. Ugh.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's what dust is made of, kids. You're wiping the dust up in your house. That's pretty much all dead skin cells. So keep that in mind. What I'm saying is don't taste it. You might get superpowers. If you get superpowers, send me an email. Right. Cool. We got one little bit of Raspberry Pi stuff to get through, but we have not one, but two patrons we need to thank this week. And speaking of patrons,
if you
want to help us out, you can do that at patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. We got all the information over at linuxgamecast.com. Post everything. We host all of our stuff, all of our own content. You don't have to worry about being tracked or stored or anything like that. And that helps out with the hosting and everything else that we do. We got a support thing. We got Patreon. We got merch. We got PayPal. We got wish list. And even cryptocurrency is not worth anything. Send us your crypto and I'll immediately convert it to studio equipment. Speaking of equipment, Jill's even got a wish list if you want to see some nauseatingly RGB things. And let's visit our good friend Kingston 240GB, who's been on that wish list forever.
It has been. I use those in my old laptops and old computers to speed them up and replace the
And
SD
of course, I got one for the studio, which is full of wicked, pretty much wicked expensive stuff. But you'll get your name on the board back here if you want to help us enable cheat mode for that. And Frank's undying gratitude, because Frank's undead. It rolls like that. So, two people we need to thank, Jill Bryan.
Yeah, so we need to thank Rilch. She's a new Patreon that joined us on Linux Gamecast Weekly last Saturday. And I had fun chatting with them while the show was going on. That was cool. Thank you so much, Rilch. And System T increased his Patreon pledge. Thank you, System T. He's been around for years. We love System T.
That's always awesome. I love seeing that. And take advantage of the bonus stuff. We do an extra hour of content each and every week in podcast and video form. Super shows. And if you're always wondering, what we're doing behind the scenes or just in life in general, hey, what are we watching? That's usually what the show starts out like. So did you watch The Boys, if you're wondering where The Boys recaps are? Kind of in places like that. And super shows. That's another thing that, we just like to do. And we hope you enjoy it. But if that's not your thing, if you just need some tech content, like long form, chunky stuff, we have the Live and Uncut series in your custom RSS feed on Patreon. So Patreon, I don't like saying Patreon, but you know what I mean. Live and Uncut series. You look at a show like this is going to be like 25, 30-minute long show, but there's usually like an hour and a half in the live stream. So clean the audio up, put it in MP3, but also give you the full video as well. And it's good for like 3.5, 4 hours of content. For Linux Gamecast Weekly, which we do each and every Saturday. We've been doing that for a decade now.
10 years.
I know. Can you tell we showed up just in time for this Steam Deck thing? We're trying to capitalize on Linux gaming. Not really. But it is cute. It's a little bit adorable to see some of the people popping up out of the woodwork that are like, Linux is awesome. It's great. And that, you know what you're talking about. But as long as they're not saying anything harmful, all publicity is good publicity for Linux. So go out there, be a good ambassador for it. Yeah. All right.
Yay,
so, we're going to watch.
Oh, that's like a great pie. CRT TV pie. Looks like it's Christmas time.
Full of bees.
Yes. Oh, yeah, there's bees. Aw, cute bees.
Everything's better with bees.
Yes, I love bees.
Like refrigerators.
Yeah.
Full of bees.
I've actually seen that in old refrigerators.
Well, it would be more disturbing if you haven't seen it in a new one. No one.
Yeah, true.
You're like, oh, that's what that button does. What? Bees.
Yeah, bees and hornets. I've seen them nest.
Oh,
before.
man. The hipsters are going to love this.
Yeah, this is so cool. So this is a Raspberry Pi TV simulator, which you can make your streaming experience just like the analog TV experience of yesterday, complete with the 720 by 486 NTSC analog broadcast resolution and the white static and snow. I think this is so cool. And what's really cool is the battery compartment underneath the set actually made the perfect place to mount a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, which takes care of streaming a variety of old movies and shorts. And what's really cool is the position of the original tuning potentiometer is read by an Arduino Mini, which tells the Pi which channel you're currently tuned to. And then the composite video is fed from the Raspberry Pi's output right into the TV's video input. And I think what's so cool is I love the static and snow between the channels when he flips the channels. It gives a realistic effect of watching an old, Popeye cartoon or Space 1999 or your favorite B-rated sci-fi movie. And Rodrigo, the developer and creator, actually used a relay switch with the TV tuner's back into the Rodrigo used a relay switch in the TV tuner's back into the circuit for the short bit between channel changes to make the snow effect. I don't think that made sense. Anyways, there is a converter in there that short circuits the signal. So when you go from one channel to another, you get a snow effect. But this is just a really cool device. And, I used to see this 5-inch portable black and white TV used to actually be sold in all the drugstores from the 80s into the early TKs, was created by many different manufacturers, including Kobe. And I used to see it at Thrifties and Rite Aid and CVS and all the drugstores as a cheap TV option. So that was really cool. And I also have one in my eBay watch list, and I've actually had it there for quite some time, so I can use it with my vintage computers and VCRs. And I think it's like $20 shipping. There are ones that are cheaper, but this one looked in good shape.
Are you going to put it on a shelf?
No, I actually did want it to hook up to some of my old computers. I've got a TV I specifically use for my C64s and my Amigas and such. And
it's a 5-inch display, man.
Yeah, I know. But it's good for testing.
I don't think I would be able to read anything on that.
No, I can't either, but it's good for testing old hardware. So
for what?
I wanted one because I actually use a big flat screen TV for testing my old computers. But that's clumsy and I have to get it out of the garage and it takes a lot of space. And this would be a nice way to just test that the computers are working.
Powering on?
Yeah, exactly.
I lived through these dark times.
Yeah.
Static. At least you had channels. We had 4 channels. But eventually we got satellite.
Yeah.
But even that, when I say satellite, you're thinking, oh, that's not too bad. Oh, it was horrible. C-band dishes. You had to remember 2 sets. You had to remember the satellite. And then every satellite had its own set of channels. So like sometimes going from the science channel or something like that to MTV with like a 7 or 8 digit combination that you had to keep memorized. And you had to wait because the dish moved.
Yeah, that's slow. It was a slow process.
Dark times. That's what these old TVs bring back to me. Black. I don't think I've ever had. No. I don't think I ever had a black and white TV.
Oh, yeah. No, I did.
Of like, picking one up to go, oh, look, this one's black and white. How novel.
In fact, I grew up with a black and white TV. My parents had bought me so I could have my own TV in my own room to watch the original Star Trek series. So I had a black and white TV for years. And then we had the big, of course, 25-inch console color TV in the living room.
Isn't that like a weird thing to think about? Big 25-inch?
Yeah, I know. And that was the biggest TV at the time. And then they made a 27-inch after that.
The big enough to where you built furniture around it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and sometimes you could even find record players, in the stereo system that was hidden on the top of the console when you lifted up the lid. That was cool. And those were the times. But it's just so nice to see a Raspberry Pi project with a CRT monitor. That made me happy.
I think I'll just stick to watching YouTube on my monitor, and when I click on a different video, Jill, I'll just go.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, we should watch LWW on a CRT. I haven't done that yet.
Nah, man, you do you. I'm gonna live in my immediate future. All right, that's brilliant. If you got any thoughts, hints, allegations, go ahead, head over to linuxgamecast.com and smash that contact button. We get those messages, and you know what? Tune in Saturday if you get a chance. Somebody left us, if you listen to us on Spotify, or Anchor, there's an option to leave a voicemail message. Somebody finally took us up on that. And that came in last week.
Nice.
But I didn't get a chance to play it. So we're going to play it and find out what mysterious words of wisdom await us. Should be fun. All right, everyone. I'm going to bring up some music and we're going to roll out some credits. But Have a great rest of your week.
Aw. And thank you for watching LWW 33 and a third. That's what it looks like. I'm going to have to teach you
about maths one day.
I know. I was a little tongue-tied today. Our advisors, Omegas and Artherin. Our beautiful advisors, our executive producers, Barb Brandt, Scott M, Atomic, Mike G, Empty. Our Chicago people, Darkwing and Abstraction.
Sea Monsters. Nubbin,
Renald,
Hakeem,
Truck
David,
Gills,
Frostclaw,
Vera Tenuta, Justin. Our Death Notes, Nova, Gamatron, Dodger.
There were more.
How
dare.
I can't read them all that quickly. Aw.
Oh, man. So that's not an even number, but it's divisible by Linux.
Yeah.
Just like us.
Aw.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Love you guys. Yes. I kept getting tongue-tied. Oh my God. Oh, well.
I gotta figure out what's going on with, like right at the beginning of the show is when I realized that a plugin I use to, when things are just scrolling, right?
Yeah.
And an extension, I should say, whatever they're called this week. And I saw this because I wasn't looking for it until we started the show and we get to the first story, and it's just a little thing that I click, predefined scrolling speeds.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's gone. Okay, let me see if I have enough brain power to scroll and talk at the same time. This is like walking into a bubble
I noticed
It's a dangerous proposition.
Yeah. I did notice it was at a different speed. So
I was just scrolling through it to different points. And then when I cut to you, I popped over to the extensions real quick and I saw this. This extension violates the Chrome Web Store policy.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay.
Are you going to tell me about what?
Oh, boy.
Which,
oh, boy.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's anything bad.
No wonder. Poor Vin.
What? I mean...
No, just that it stopped working and you had to manually do it.
I clicked it on, but now I'm curious. Let's go find out together as a team if Google is going to be so kind. To tell us. On all sites, view Chrome Web Store. Huh. That's lovely, Google. Thanks for letting us know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Joey. It would have been nice if it let you know when you launched the browser and told you this this extension has been disabled.
Yes. I mean, you can say good on Google for at least disabling it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious as to what it is, because normally if it's something out of tree, you have to enable developer mode in order to get something back, but this was just like a toggle switch.
Yeah.
Which, then again, this thing could be data harvesting, and it wouldn't matter because this browser is only used for the show.
Mm.
And I think the only thing I'm ever logged into is Twitter, which is like two-factor.
Mm.
Somebody tried to hack my PayPal account last night at 2:30 this morning.
Did you mention that in Discord?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay. Someone was talking about PayPal in Discord, so I guess it wasn't you.
No, when I say try to hack, I get an email that, are you having difficulty logging into your PayPal account? No.
Oh, no.
Click here to reset your password. And I'm like, oh, sweetheart, you're going to run into the two-factor if you figure out the password, and good luck, because I don't even know my password for that.
Yeah, I use Bitwarden with PayPal and banking, and then I have a two-factor as well, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, unless you have my mobile device or my, you can get into my Google Voice account, and good luck getting into somebody's Google account without Google notifying the world. Like, I want someone to love me like Google alerts love you when somebody logs into that account, man. You want that kind of attention. You ever log into like a new PC or a new laptop, a new mobile device? Google lets you know. There's like 5 or 6 different confirmations, and I got hit another thing where
and all your
manually
devices,
have to open a web page.
Okay, and no, I love that they do that. That's awesome.
I think that's the right way to be, though. With
absolutely
passwords, don't have passwords that you know.
Yeah.
For anything important.
Yeah.
I know that's a control thing to give up. I get it. I understand like that part of your brain. You're like, but I can't hand that over to security wise in modern time and day. Yeah. I mean, have a backup written down somewhere that maybe you can get to eventually, but yeah, like all of my passwords are, alphanumeric plus squiggly.
Yeah.
Bits
Same here. Yeah. All
like
the old school way of doing passwords.
Well beyond old school. I mean,
yeah.
Using non-standard characters and fortunately we have case sensitivity.
Better for security. Yeah.
And I've rolled over that. I mean, it took me a long time. Not that I've ever had outright somebody, because I've always had a variation of between 16 and 28 character password in my brain mates that I would just cycle to different things.
Yeah, same
Which means that I could, within 5 or 6 tries, figure out which password I had for what if I ever had to figure out what it was. And I mean, it was secure enough, but I've just went to just strong password suggestions. Bus comes along. What?
Yep, I learned good password practices back in the BBS days in the 80s. My brother was the security guy for Sun Microsystems and a lot of the different big companies. So I was always very careful.
The best security practice we can have these days is don't have a password that you know.
Yeah, which is freaky when you think about it.
Yeah, I know what so means. I'm trying to figure out what you, out of context. My brain's not putting what you said into context. Because a bus comes along and your SO needs their life back too.
Oh, and your partner, like if you get killed or something, and then that's the nice thing about the password managers is you can transfer all the passwords to your spouse. You can give them a link. Yeah. I need to set that up with Steve. Yeah, he has a list of passwords I regularly use, but now that I've been I've been using Bitwarden the last few years. I need to set him up on there. Yeah. Yep, sure do, Katana. Yeah, I'm the one who set up Steve Husband's passwords for him, so I know all his passwords. Do, 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 do.
Yeah, fortunately, I'm finally glad that we've reached a part in society when it comes to utility bills that you can put everything on auto pay. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it is nice.
Never crosses my mind. Except when the power goes out. Because some illogical part in my brain goes, you forgot to pay the power bill. I don't pay the
yeah.
it just gets taken out of my account.
Yeah.
But my brain immediately goes to, no, something went wrong and you didn't pay I don't know why. But that is my first thought every time. Completely irrational.
Yeah, we do most of our bill paying online, but Steve likes to, instead of setting it automated, he likes to do it himself each month. So, just the way he likes to do things, and I kind of like that too, but automated is fine as well.
Well, usually with utility bills, they don't vary.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not a fan of repetitive I'm not a fan of something that I can script.
Yeah. I mean, there's still, I mean,
90%,
I don't have...
90%, Steve, identity theft and fraud is from meat space, not digital, baby. You gotta look up those numbers.
Yeah.
Put everything on auto if you want or don't. Like, it doesn't matter. You do you. It's like the whole thing. Like,
well, I'm still kind of with Steven on the, like, I like to get my work checks in the mail. I just, instead of them having access, not so much, but my school having access to my accounts, I did not like that because it was government. So I wanted them to send me a check and I deposit my own check.
yeah, I'm going to try to save every tree I can. I'll take a check, but
yeah.
Oh man, like
that's the only thing I like. Paper. That's the one thing. It's my checks.
I'll make somebody find a check before I'll take cash. I hate taking cash for anything.
Yeah.
At least with a check, I can take a picture of it.
Yeah.
And put it in my account. I mean, my power bill, I'm sure it varies, but my power bill's pretty reasonable-ish, depending on what I'm up to. Like, I know if I'm going to have a crazy power bill.
Oh, yeah. If you have to run the air conditioners a lot.
Usually welding.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Depends on if I'm being creative. Yeah, like if it's crazy hot, I cut on both the AC units upstairs and downstairs. My power bill is going to be $300 and something a month.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I'd rather it not be. That's why I don't keep them on 24/7.
Yeah, it'd be double that if you did that.
No. You guys still have a landline, though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a phone plugged into it?
Yeah, we do, actually.
Do you pick it up sometimes and just listen?
Yeah. It's for emergencies, for family, like Steve's mom and that kind of thing. So I'm glad we have it. We were going to get rid of it, and we decided to keep it.
What's a phone line cost in 2022?
think like $20 a month, something like that. I forgot what they charge us. It actually came with the package for our internet, so they packaged it in, which was nice.
So you're getting like, that's interesting.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What?
Because he was on Discord, and I had saw his messages on Discord, and then he posted another message to Discord, and I didn't see it. And so he just called me on the phone. Honey, go check your Discord. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, even though you can, I've had other services where you can, do digital phone, and then you can have 911 transferred. I always made sure to do that. Because we had another service for a while, but we still had our old landline hooked up, and let's just use it.
Yeah, like if I'm doing an emergency call, I'm going for a mobile device because that mobile device has a GPS built into it. Mm-hmm. I don't want any vagary. I'm in this room of the house, man.
Yeah.
Find the dot.
Yeah. Well, I guess the police and fire and paramedics say that it is quicker if you're using a landline, because they know your number and know immediately what house you're in. So that's the response can be quicker because it's not having to find route and everything. So that's what the police and fire, they tell you to have a landline. Our local tell us to have a landline for that reason. It's faster. But I know it's things have changed. So for instance, when I call 911, the Torrance PD comes immediately to my house from a block over because they're just a block over.
I'm going to call 911, just walk over there.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, not unless you can't.
Yeah, I can remember the last time I had a landline.
Yeah.
I loathe talking on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Never enjoyed it.
I had my own phone since I'd been a teenager.
As soon as text messages, even when they were, I'm not going to say prohibitively expensive, but you paid a chunk to have text messaging. I was all on that, and I was all on everybody else getting it.
Pagers and stuff.
Text is, I know people like to say, well, things are lost in text messages. And I'm like, yeah, that's usually when you're being angry and mean at other people. That's when you start thinking, well, it's out of context. I'm like, right. Sarcasm and all that, but just trying to communicate data to somebody, I'll take text any day of the week. Because you eliminate things like, no, that's not what I said. Wait a minute. Give me a second.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, you did. Right here. I like paper trails. I like paper trails, man. All right. I thought we were going to get another storm, but maybe we're not. I'm down with that. I got to go find. Does anybody have any suggestions for an auto scroll that you currently use? Because I can search Google myself.
Yeah, I had one I was using on Firefox, but I don't use it that often because I can't read usually that quickly. Mm-hmm. Even on the slowest speed, it was a little bit too. I have to do it manually. But I did have one. It's probably the same extension or similar one to the one you were using, Ben.
Yeah, there's not much of them. I mean, I don't use them for reading. I just use them so while we're talking. Yeah. So if you're watching, because Man, people get upset. You're like, why don't you show the page that you're talking about? I'm like, here it is. Look. Aha. And, yeah, something like that. I'm sure there's a million of them. I was wondering if anybody had any,
suggestions. Yeah.
Preferences. I'm just, because, tell you what, I'm going to go and I'm going to grab the first one that kind of does what I need it to.
Mm-hmm. True.
Have a clutch mouse. I used to have a clicky scrolly mouse. My G Logitech, whatever. Now, thanks to some X-Doot and X-Input hackery, I turned this thing into a 3-dimensional mouse. If I hold down this third button, so I can scroll in all directions at one time, and that's real handy when you're working in 3D stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to scroll up and down is neat, but being able to scroll up, down, left, right, and everything in between.
All around, yeah. This mouse doesn't have a 3D scroller, but I have some others that do, and I really like it.
I mean, you could turn any mouse into that if you had just a button you're not doing anything with.
Yeah. True.
Not too difficult to set up. You can adapt. I did a guide on it a couple of years back. You can adapt. I say you can adapt to it. If you go by some of the questions on that YouTube video, you can. I mean, I can only do what I can do. Cool, everyone. We're going to wind everything down for this evening, and me and Jill are going to reconvene on Friday.
Yeah.
Some Trackmania. Let's see. Let me check. How much longer do we have to wait for our other game to come out?
Oh, yeah. Golf. Racing golf.
Turbo Golf.
Turbo Golf.
Where's that? Man, everything got updated today.
Thank you, Artherin.
Turbo Golf right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste that in there. I don't know if it's end of... I think it might be the end of next week, maybe.
Yeah, I need to look too. That would be...
Because this is going to be us. We're going to be booping balls down golf courses. Disco balls, kids. Golf balls with sand traps and missiles. It's going to be fun. You can reach out and boop somebody. But there's no collision in it unless you shoot them with a missile, which is kind of interesting mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
No, you can drive through everybody, and you can dodge missiles by doing your flips. It looks like, just looking at the trailer, you're like, I don't know. And it didn't click with me until I watched somebody playing it. I stumbled across it on Twitch, and then I downloaded the demo, and I played through it. And I didn't quit playing until I maxed out at level 15, which was the highest you could go in the demo.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't make it that high. I got up to like the 5th level.
But that's
well,
I had to, Jill, because my car wasn't hideous enough yet.
Oh,
I had to maximize. I needed extra. I had to get that glitter.
I think they're cute how they animated the cars too. It makes them look like little animals, kind of.
Oh, they do. And they like move. Yeah. It's going to be a fun, silly game that I'm sure people are going to be like, I don't like that. It's a great time to hop in, come hang out with us and ask questions.
Yeah.
That's always fun, and that's something we're going to continue doing on Tuesdays and Fridays. But that's going to wrap us up for today.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, you need to call Jill on the landline for old time's sake.
Yeah.
Like, hi, Jill. How are you doing? All right, beautiful people. Tomorrow, Jordan Swang will return. I don't know if he's going to continue with his RPG game that he's set up. It's kind of entertaining. I'm a character in the game. I'm like this little tiny wizard because Jordan said,
his friend's a wizard.
Jordan, straight up, man. He's like, so what do you want to be? Because I try to catch Jordan's streams on Thursdays if I got a minute. And I'm like, I want to be a wizard. He's like, all right. I saw him heading over. There's a wizard thing, and then there was like a mage, and he clicks on mage, and I'm like, I said wizard. Quit trying to min-max.
Oh.
So, and Michael in Foxdog, if you know him, he's a character in there as well. Strider's a character. And, it's like turn-based wizard stuff, and it's kind of fun. They got cutscenes and stuff like that are unintentionally hilarious. Mm-hmm. And if I get a chance, I'll probably post this up later this week, we did our best to play Cursed Fode. Cursed, the...
Yeah, that...
Battle Royale.
Yeah, the Battle Royale.
And our biggest problem was we had like a 5-person party, and it was trying to find another group of 5 people that wanted to play, and we found one, and we were able to play for a little bit. So I probably got like 20 minutes of us running around getting killed in that. Might be entertaining to watch, but yeah. I'll see everybody again Friday.
Bye,
Keep
everyone.
doing Linux stuff. Make Linux noises.
Yeah.
Happy Linux noises.
Yeah.
Right before you pounce, because it puts them at ease, and you can get them better.
Mm-hmm.